Today I'm going to talk about this very curious article I read the other day about how a condo buyer lost $30,000 because he backed out of a deal. What? Now you can search online for this article if you want to, but the gist of it is this person in his 40s bought a condo, Blossoms by the Park, and he paid for the option to purchase, but he did not go through with his plan to buy the condominium, and therefore he made a loss of 1.25% on the entire property price, which came out to almost $30,000. In the article, one of the reasons why he backed out from the deal was because he worried about the high mortgage he had to pay on the $2.3 million property. And that's of course quite real, because on a $2.3 million property, if you paid the deposit of 25%, you still have 75% of $2.3 million, which is more than $1.7 million. And even on a 30-year loan, the monthly mortgage can come up to almost $8,000 based on a 3.5% per annum interest mortgage loan. So it looks like a case of someone who bought the option to purchase, but regretted it and then gave up that sum of money, which is actually fairly common in Singapore. But this guy actually bought another condo and another place, the Reserve Residences, and paid $2.4 million for this condo, which is more expensive than the one he backed out from. So why is it that someone will pay almost $30,000 of fees to buy a condo, only to give them up to buy another condo? Here are a few reasons why I think he made that move. But of course, for the real reason, you have to ask him yourself lah. Okay, I'm just here to kaypo only. Please help me drop a like on this video if you are kaypo like me as well. It will really help my channel, and thanks for helping me out. First of all, we need to recognize that sunk cost fallacy exists, and I've talked about this in my ILP video. But to reiterate what it means, it's actually going through with a bad decision because you have already invested time and or resources into that decision. To illustrate, let's assume that you have investment A, which gives you $2,000 next year if you buy it for $1,000 now, and you've already paid a deposit of $100 for investment A. And then you realize investment B comes along that will give you $2,500 next year. All things being equal, the logical thing to do will be to give up $100 on investment A, chalk it up as a bad decision, and then go with investment B because it will give you a better outcome, even though you have already lost $100 in investment A. However, reality is of course not as clear-cut as this, and it is very difficult to walk away from a $30,000 mistake, but it looks like this person actually decided that $30,000 is sunk cost and he has found something better. According to the news report, all the man said was that the reserve had better amenities and therefore it would be a better buy. But the thing about newspaper reports I realized is that you can tell them 10 sentences and they will just pick 1 or 2 sentences from what you have told them to publish on their paper. Or perhaps the man just didn't want to review too much, although I wonder why someone would actually go on newspaper and say, hey, I lost $30,000. So I don't think that's the only reason why the man gave up almost $30,000 of fees just to buy some place with better amenities. So is the Reserve Residences really that much better than Blossom by the Park? Well, some people seem to think so. This guy from Hardware Zone says that the Reserve Residence is much better at the same price per square feet, and this other guy from Hardware Zone as well says that the amenities are better for the Reserve. And indeed, the Reserve Residences have shown very substantial sales numbers during their launch weekend. But if you ask me, I can honestly say I don't know whether it's much better, but my theory is that this guy is just trying to sell off the property before the mortgage actually kicks in. Again, this is entirely me being kaypo and trying to put a theory to why he did it. But if you look at the difference in their TOP dates, even though Blossoms by the Park and Reserve Residences were launched months apart, the TOP year for Blossoms is 2026, whereas the TOP date for Reserve Residences is 2028. And I think that's the reason why he went for Reserve Residences instead, because of the later TOP date. Now, if you're a property agent, do correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is when we buy new launch condos like this, we have to take a BUC or Building Under Construction loan, which only kicks in when the condo is starting to be built. Reserve Residences is a mixed development with a 4-story mall below it, and therefore the mall has to be built first before the condo can be built. And therefore, your BUC mortgage should theoretically start later. And if your purpose is to delay mortgage payments, I think getting the Reserve Residences is a better move than Blossoms by the Park, which should start construction on the condo really soon if they haven't already done so. When you buy a property and sell it within the first 3 years, there's a seller's stamp duty applicable. So if you want to dodge seller's stamp duty, you have to wait at least 3 years before selling it off. Now, if you buy Blossom by the Park, chances are you're going to pay quite a lot of mortgage plus the interest because the construction of the condo will start quite soon. And for reserve residences, the mortgage payment will come in much later, and therefore you spend less on mortgage interest before you can finally sell your condo. Now, I'm not a property agent, so this is not property advice. I'm not saying that the reserve residence is good, right? I'm just saying that this might be why the guy actually gave up $30,000 to buy the reserve residences. In fact, this move might cause him even more trouble if the property investment does not go the way he wants to. Not only did he incur a loss of $30,000 right off the bat, he also bought a more expensive property. So who knows whether he'll make money in the end? I guess only time can tell. Hey Siri, remind me in 3 years to check on the price of reserve residences.
Okay, I added it.
Resort residences. But hey, if you're a property agent, let us know in the comments below why this guy actually gave out almost $30,000 to buy reserve residence instead. And thanks for your input. Personally, I think the lesson we can learn from this incident is, number one, of course, do your homework before committing to any large transaction. Be it property, or be it your insurance, or be it any investment that you can think of that requires large financial commitment. And number two, if you have already made a mistake, right, doubling down on it might not be the best way to go, and you have to recognize that sunk cost fallacy exists, and you might be able to correct your bad decision by pivoting to a better decision. Of course, the keyword here is better, and you have to make sure that your next decision is not something that will actually incur you more cost and trouble. Anyway, subscribe to my Telegram group if you want more content and great deals, and also check out this video where I talk about whether property market will crash in Singapore, and also this video which YouTube thinks that you'll really enjoy, and I'll see you in those videos.